Today we're working with Asian cuisine, and the greatest thing about it is we're using simple ingredients that you can find at the grocery store. We're going to put them all together and we're going to make ginger beef with steak tips, people. Steak tips. So we're going to get right into the ingredients, and we're going to start with the steak tips. We have regular sirloin tips that we picked up at the grocery store, and that's what the phenomenal thing about this is we're going to work with all these ingredients that you can find readily available, and it's going to be great. But we're going to take these sirloin tips, and we're just going to trim them down a little bit, and we're going to cut them out. And as you can see, I've got one here, and I already broke one down, but we just want to take a regular steak tip, and we're just going to cut it against the grain. Now see, the grain's going this way. Bob's getting in here, we can maybe see the grain's going this way, and I'm kind of scoring it a little this way. We want to cut it against the grain because that'll be a lot more tender that way. Again, I've told this story 100 times too, and I actually teach my cooks whenever I'm training them on how to cut meat. Picture a roll of straws, and I think we actually did a quick riff about it if I'm not mistaken. Picture a roll of straws like this, and if you slice with the grain, you're going to get nothing but straw, and it's kind of grainy. But if you turn the straws on their side and cut them like this, almost like you get like a little beehive, with all the little, honeycomb effect in there. And that's where all the tenderized meat is. That's when it really starts to break down and it's much easier to chew. And it is a perfect example of that right there. So what we just cut these into strips. Now we're going to go ahead and make the marinade for them, get them in the marinade. And real simple, we're going to start with 2 tablespoons of good quality soy sauce. And I've got mirin. Now mirin is it's a rice wine, but it's sweetened, and it's primarily to kind of make that soy into more like a teriyaki. You can find that in the Asian section of the aisle, and it's not too expensive either, so it's pretty good. It's like a sake, it's like a sweetened sake is what it is. But it's primarily for Asian cuisine, and I like to use it in marinades because it really kind of brings the flavor out. So I just added about a tablespoon of mirin to those few tablespoons of teriyaki that we have. And then I've got some plum sauce, and I'm going to add about a tablespoon of plum sauce. And again, that's going to be found pretty much in the same area as the mirin. And you want to use a quality soy, and I think in a couple episodes that we've done prior, low sodium is probably better because we're going to add a little bit of edge and salt and stuff like that later on. So you're probably better off using a lower sodium marinade. So now, soy sauce. Now we're going to add a teaspoon of garlic and a teaspoon of fresh minced ginger. And we've minced ginger on the show quite a few times. And I'm on this big ginger kick lately. I think a lot of the things that I've been doing is really ginger influenced. So I'm going to add probably about a teaspoon of olive oil. And the final component will be a dash of the edge. And then what we'll do now is we're going to set this meat into this delicious marinade. Give it a try first. Oh yeah. No, it's going to be strong. When you taste it, you're going to be, wow, it's really intense. Of course it is. It's supposed to be. That's what you want. Now, you can get really creative, and a lot of ginger beef recipes call for peanuts. And I'm just shying away in this instance so that way that you can do it later on. And if you have any allergies in the family or whatever, stay away from it. But you could certainly do sesame oil or peanut oil in there as well. I just went with olive because I had that readily available. And really, it's just mainly to add a little bit of flavor, and you want to get the steak pieces coated very, very well. And we're going to set them aside. And like I said, if you can let them marinate for an hour. I don't know that I would go overnight. A lot of these recipes call for overnight marinades, but I think that there's so much concentrated acid in that marinade right there that your meat will end up starting to cook on you within a few hours. So I would say just an hour is about all you need. So we'll set that aside, and what we'll do now is we'll talk about the different vegetables that we've got going in. While we have a moment, I just wanted to say, number one, thank you for checking us out. But if you want to find more information, go to our website, anodizedchef.com. You can find recipes, prior episodes. There's a lot of great stuff, a lot of great content on there. Even leave a comment on one of the episodes if you like. Or you can check us out on our Facebook fan page, facebook.com/anodizedchef, or follow us on Twitter. You can follow me at @TheAnodizedChef, or you can follow the show at Anodized Chef. Thank you again for checking us out. So one of the things that we've decided to do with today's episode is we're going to serve the ginger beef over a lo mein. We're going to make a house lo mein. And we were thinking about a rice, but we've done a lot of things with rice, both fried You know, we've done a pilaf, we've done risotto. So what we want to do now is we want to kind of do a quick pasta dish, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make that side dish up ahead, and we'll set that aside and reserve it. So when the ginger beef is done, then we can kind of have that little nest of pasta to put it on. So let's put that together now. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to get our pan good and hot. And again, you want to use a good quality oil with a high smoke point. You can always add a nice flavored oil like a peanut or a sesame to that and kind of kick it up a little bit. But one of the things about Asian cuisine that really fascinated me was the beginning stages of that oil. When that oil gets hot, you add your aromatics. You might add about a half a teaspoon of garlic. Be pretty liberal with the ginger, about 3/4 of a teaspoon of ginger. I've got some scallions in there. Let's get the scallions going on in there because that adds a nice onion flavor to that oil. And we want to use fresh ginger. Leave that powder stuff for your flavored teas and all that boo-boo stuff. Use the real deal in this. Don't shortchange yourself. Now, the smells are coming, the sounds are coming. We'll get some action in the pan. Now let's go ahead and add, I've got about 1.5 cups of bok choy. Now bok choy is almost like a cabbage, and it's in the produce section. If you've never worked with it before, it's absolutely incredible because it's very mild in flavor. It's got a very leafy texture, leafy taste to it, and it almost doesn't taste like anything. It really kind of takes on the properties of whatever you're adding to it. So we're going to go ahead and just saute that right up into that flavored oil that we've already created. And I've got some bean sprouts that add a very distinct flavor. I'm sure you guys have had these. If you've gone to any Chinese restaurant, you've had them in your rice or you've had them in one of the sautés. So, oh yeah. Okay, now we've got this going pretty good. And you don't want this to cook too much because we're going to fry the noodles a little bit, but we're going to build our sauce right into here now. Now, I've got some hoisin. We're going to add about a tablespoon of hoisin in there. And that's really thick, so we're going to want to thin it down with just a little bit of soy. Probably add about maybe I'd say probably about 1/4 cup maybe of soy. Throw some fresh parsley in there too for color. Now, take our noodles, and I've got maybe about 1 cup of regular noodles cooked. Now you can use rice noodles, you can use authentic egg lo mein noodles. I've just got some regular pasta here, but now I want to add some Chinese spice. Just a pinch Chinese spice. Some smoked paprika for color. We should have probably done this when the sauce was being made, but that's okay. Probably the same thing, about a pinch, and then a pinch of the edge. Season all that up, and we'll get this thing rolling. Oh my goodness. Give it a good mix. And then we have amazing. And you don't want the bean sprouts to cook down too much. You want everything to be kind of crisp still, too. So we're going to go ahead and put this on our short plate, and we'll get right into the beef stir fry. Before we start the stir fry action, let's take a minute to recognize Alekhine's gun. This is their song Gutwrench. It's off their EP Meditations and Wrath, and you can check out more about Alekhine's gun on ReverbNation.com or check out their YouTube fan page. So now we get to piss off the dishwasher by dirtying another pan. So we're going to get right into the beef stir fry. We'll set that lo mein aside. Oh man, the smells off that lo mein were out of control. So we're going to go ahead and get right into this. Now, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing with the oil. Again, you can flavor up the oil however you like. And I'm going to go with a half a teaspoon of garlic. Nice and liberal. I'm going to go ahead and get a nice full teaspoon of ginger. And we're building those aromatics because it's critical that we really kind of flavor that oil. Because that's really where it's at. And I never knew that before. The oil is the foundation of the whole sauce. Because when you add all those sweet and salty ingredients to it, it all kind of adds to that oil. Because the oil is really where it's at. The garlic and the ginger and you never want to overpower that. So I've got this going, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to add into our, I've got my tongs here, that marinated beef. We're going to add right into that oil, that marinated beef. And it's going to sizzle a little bit, so just be prepared, because you're actually adding some of that liquid to it as well. But look at, you can see the texture on that beef, how it's, within that hour, it's already started to kind of cook a little bit. That's how bold that marinade is. So, And you don't have to cook it all the way through. You just kind of want to brown each side. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to add our vegetables to it. I've got some nice fresh broccoli. And that's something that you would expect to see. I've got some diced red pepper. And that's just regular bell pepper. And I've got some onion here. And oh, I'm sorry. That was probably about half a cup of diced red. And the same thing on the onion. The onion's going to take a little bit longer to break down. Probably should have thrown that in right with the aromatics, but that's okay. I like a little bit of bite. Okay, now, so we've got the vegetables going. I'm going to add just a few more scallions too, because I'm a huge fan of scallions, and I like the way that they add a little color and texture to the saute. Now, you can also add some of your canned standards. You've got your bamboo shoots, you've got your water chestnuts, you've got a lot of that stuff. I kind of wanted to stay raw and a little bit more natural, so I went with what was more readily available at the supermarket. Now, I've got some plum sauce. Again, it's all same foundation as the marinade. I'm going to add probably about a tablespoon of plum sauce, about 2 tablespoons of soy. We'll add some of that marinade in there as well. And then, before this really gets out of hand, I'm going to turn this down just to a simmer. Oh yeah. And I have some cornstarch and water on standby, because really what we want to try to do is you want to have that, because we're going to make what's called a slurry and kind of extend the sauce out a little bit. And really all that is let's see, we're going to add a 1/4 cup of water right into this dish right here. We'll add probably just about a teaspoon of cornstarch. Let's just mix that up. And this is what's called a slurry. And cornstarch is used in a lot of Asian cuisine to help to thicken the sauce. So we'll add that in there. And that'll really kind of bring things together. And this beef is not going to take any time at all to cook. And it's also really, really tender. You can see it's almost, there it is. We're at that consistency that we want it to be at. Oh my goodness. You know what? And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to sneak a little taste. It's only lacking one thing, baby. Right there. The edge. Just a little pinch of the edge, or salt, pepper, garlic, you know the drill. We're just going to put this right over the top now. Oh man. And I'm going to add some crushed red. Now crushed red pepper, you can add, if you want, you can omit it. You can add it if you like. I like it because it adds another element to it. It's going to bring a little bit of heat. Because we've got so many things going on. We've got savory in the plum sauce. We've got saltiness in the soy sauce. We've got sweet in the mirin. Now we're adding the heat, so there's so many different layers of flavor in this thing, it's out of control. Who would have thought you could do this with steak tips, you know? So, all right, so our sauce, we don't want that to reduce too much. So I'm gonna go ahead and shut this down. And your beef, you don't have to even cook it all the way. You can leave it at a nice medium if you like, so it's still a little pink in the middle. But I think with stir fries as a whole, look at that, bro. Holy smokes, incredible. Okay, I think we're ready to start plating. So all we do is we put the stir fry right over the noodles that we prepared ahead of time. We garnish with some green onion there on top. Doesn't miss the peanuts at all. I mean, you can put the peanuts on if you want, but it's not necessary. We decided to pair that with a Vincent Pinot Noir from California. It's an 08. And I'll tell you, the greatest thing about this is we decided to take this and we tried it, and it had a nice woody taste to it. I got a nice cedar taste on the nose. And there's a lot of tart berries in there that really kind of offset a lot of the sweetness that's in the dish. We found it to be a beautiful match on this particular dish. So once again, we thank you for joining us in our magic, madness, and mayhem. We'll see you next time.